Hello everyone, I'm hoping we've got sound and you've got picture because it's been chaos. I know it takes about 20 seconds for things to switch over, but I'm looking to see if anybody can tell me that you can hear me and see me at the moment, because it's been a little bit crazy here to say the least this evening. And we're not sure of the quality of the picture, but we've got one, and we don't know if we've got sound, but we're hoping that we have. So all good. There we go. Somebody saying all good. So it looks like, and that's somebody with a spanner. So yes, sound and vision. Thank goodness. You would not believe the chaos that's been here in the last 20 minutes at Johnson HQ. Just to set the scene, Tim is not well. Now, we're not sure if it's COVID. It could well be. The symptoms appear to be. And of course, these new variants of COVID are now becoming like the flu and the common cold, at least here in the UK. They're everywhere. But he's got the sore throat, he's got the banging headache, and he's not feeling at all good. So he fell asleep this afternoon, early afternoon. And when chaos reigned here, he was still crashed out, fast asleep. And Caroline was doing her best to assist me in getting it set up, but we couldn't do it. So I left it until 3 minutes to 9 to wake tech support Tim up and ask him if he'd save the day. And being the hero that he is, he's got down here and done his magic. I don't know what he does. We can spend hours trying to wade our way through, but Tim knows what he's doing. Faraway Portal says the only problem with the show is you can't see my better half. Correct, you can't. Actually, she's not even in the house at the moment. She's running an errand. And as I explained to somebody, I have tried to get back into the comments. My apologies that I haven't been able to cover the comments for the last couple of months. As you can see, we haven't even been able to get out and film. Hence, we almost didn't put a video out yesterday. But thanks to the inspiration from lovely Rachel with that beautiful gift, I got the idea and decided, let's go for it, let's make it happen. But the issue for us, without going into details because it's personal matters, but Caroline's health is as good as it has been, so is mine. Obviously, getting past 60 doesn't come by itself, but we're doing okay. The issue for us at the moment is simply life. Our world in our 60s is far busier, and there are far more demands on our time and our energy than there ever were in our 50s. Simply because the world is changing for other members of our family to whom we have a deep sense of duty and responsibility and love for them as well. So obviously that now is drawing on our time, absorbing our thinking, and it is changing the demographic of what we can do. So Caroline has made the decision to keep her sewing channel going because it gives her focus, whereas I go out to work each day and she deals with most things regarding the home. It does give Caroline a focus outside of the issues that we're dealing with. So she is loving doing her channel. It means that she keeps in touch with so many of you, her lovely friends, through doing that. But she's had to draw back further and further and is now virtually not involved in Let's Go at this point in time because we're not making videos. Obviously, if we get the chance to go out on a mudlark, whether it be locally or a couple of days away, we're going to do that, and we'll be able to share those with you, and Caroline will be in the videos that we make. But at the moment, we're very much covering as many bases as we can, sharing out the responsibilities, including YouTube, so that we keep our minds clear and focused on those priorities that are absolutely top of the list. But we thank you for all your concern, but please be assured we are both well. But please keep us in your thoughts because, as I say, being in our 60s is proving a lot busier than being in our 50s. we find ourselves a bit as like they talk about the in-betweeners, because we've got responsibilities towards our children, but we also have responsibilities towards the generation above as well. So we're dealing with that, and we just wanted to keep you in the picture. But we did get you. We have arrived, and I can say that the first people in tonight were, drum roll, top of the tree, Lexi. Number 2 slot goes to Bonnie Tyler fan, and then number 3, representing the men among us tonight, Jason S. So it's Lexi, Bonnie Tyler fan and Jason taking the first 3 podiums of the night for order of arrival. I've no idea how many people are in, because it doesn't show me on this, because I've only got the studio system up, whereas we used to run 2 and I would be on the same time scale as you. But that's who came in first, and I do know there's a lot of chat going on. I can see a lot of names I recognise. I can see Linda is in from way down under. While I'm planning to sort of settle down for the night after this show, Linda will be finishing breakfast and getting on with her day. That Rachel is saying, since my dad retired, I think he works more with volunteering than when he was working. He's still volunteering at 87. Well, good on him. That's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. I did a service last week or the week before for a young lady of 99, and there was a photograph that the family showed me, and we had it up on an easel at the front of the service, where she was driving across the field in her tractor at 92. You know, it's wonderful when people are able to do as much as they can for as long as they can. And of course, the longer you can keep doing these things, the younger it keeps you. I'm not sure if the pressures we're under at the moment are quite the same with the family commitments, but I am looking forward to retiring. And I can promise you, when I do retire, I think YouTube will then become have more time in my schedule. But that could be delayed for another couple of years yet, because our situation does not lend itself to me finishing work at the minute. But I do look forward to that. There we go. There we go. Everybody's saying 30 watching. Well, that's brilliant. 30 people joining us. That's absolutely fantastic. We've mentioned it before, but I'll say it again tonight. There was a guy that Caroline used to watch when we were first getting into YouTube, a young man from the States who was encouraging people to go out there and do it. And he said, if you were to turn up in a room and announce, I'll be here tonight to chat for an hour, if you'd like to join me, come along, and 30 people turned up at the room, you'd think, wow, that's amazing. So it's amazing to have 30 people in tonight, and to see so many of those names of people that we recognise, because that's what this is truly all about. And I know that you're such a great community and so supportive of each other as well. So if there's anybody with us tonight, and you yourselves are having a little bit of a struggle with things, whether it be health or other matters, just know that you're among friends tonight, and we're here to have a good time. Just to relax, take an hour out. As you all know, this all began during the 6-week lockdown in the UK in March 2020, and was intended to run for that 6-week lockdown, so that anybody that was in a lockdown situation could have an hour meeting up with people they recognised in the chat. Well, that's kept going for a while, isn't it? Because over 5 years later, we're still doing live shows, because you lot keep turning up, so we keep turning up. And then you lot kept turning up, so I kept turning up. And at the moment, as long as I'm here and you're there, it's going to happen. So, having established who got in first, I suppose the next thing we should do is have ourselves a question. Now then, it's all jumbled up here, but I think I can find the question time little jingle. Let's have a look. Well, that worked. So there we go. Success on all fronts so far. No surprises tonight. every question is going to be linked to dragons, because the theme of our video yesterday that was made very much last minute, I actually filmed that and edited it, and I got the edit complete at 10 o'clock on the Thursday night. I had to do 2 funerals on the Friday, so we were uploading to YouTube at about 7 o'clock yesterday evening, ready to actually go live for the premiere at 9. So it was very much last minute, but it was wonderful to see so many there. And thank you for all the lovely comments, and thank you for all of the lovely comments to Rachel as well, because a lot of the comments have been saying just how amazing Rachel's creation was, and I will show you that again in a moment. But let's get the first question done. Dragons have been part of Celtic folklore for a millennia, and the red dragon in particular has a long history in Wales and linked to the Welsh royalty, the princes of Wales. But the Welsh flag, with its impressive red dragon on a green and white background, is a far more recent thing. When was that flag adopted as the official flag of Wales? Was it A, 1959, B, 1939, or C, 1919? Go! When do you think, folks? Do you think it was just over 100 years ago? Do you think it was nearer 90 years ago? Or do you think it was about 65 years ago that we had the Welsh dragon on the flag officially as our emblem throughout the world? So if you want 1959 that it came in, it's A. If you want 1939, it's B. And if you want 1919, it's C. And at this moment, we've got A's, B's and C's coming in. So we're guaranteed that we're going to get a correct answer. Always a relief when you know there's a correct answer out there. So thanks, yeah, but good coming in. Yeah, we've got quite a few answers. So I'm going to have to scroll up and up and up and get to the top of this lot. Here we go. And I can tell you that the first correct answer tonight was also the first answer from Sharon Paget, who said A, which is 1959. We have only had, it seems like it's been there forever, and in my lifetime I suppose it has, as I was born in 1960. So they got the flag in before I arrived. But it's been practically my lifetime and just a little more. It was actually made the flag in the same year as my older brother Jeremy was born, 1959. So Shannon Paget, you've got gold. And then we come down. Now Lexi, you missed it because you went for the B, which I can quite understand because it seems quite recent, doesn't it? But then Phyllis Williams, the lady with the spanner, you've got A as well. So it's, and just above Phyllis, Rachel Bailey got in with an A. Oh, there's so many capital A's, Rachel, I nearly missed you a little A, but it's in there. So gold, Sharon. Silver, Rachel, and Phyllis, you take the bronze, and you just pipped to the post and Goodwin, who also went A. And after that we've got a C and a B and a C, so we've got a few varieties afterwards, but Sharon gets the top slot, Rachel gets the silver, and Phyllis takes the bronze. Right, let's show you once more that beautiful piece, because the lighting in the shed wasn't amazing, as I was filming quite late in the afternoon, evening, so yeah, on the Thursday. But here it is again, still on the card. I'm having to sort through all the frames we've got so that we can see it. But if I show you the back of the card, you may be able to pick up, see the stitching? Look at that, all that crisscross stitching. Now that's the white lines that you'll see coming across, because as I explained, Rachel spent hours and hours putting all this beadwork together, and then in order that it could travel through the post, she then took the time to stitch it down and keep it safe. And I think she did an amazing job of packing it, but also an amazing job making it. Because if I bring it in there, if you just see the detail on that. All the different shades of blue. Absolutely stunning. So as I say, Caroline and I echo every comment that has been made regarding that piece. It is amazing, somebody said. Beautiful, somebody says. A masterpiece, somebody said. Another comment was, all I can say is wow. And we echo all those comments, because fair play, what a fantastic job you did there, Rachel. And as I say, it was so funny because I was at a bit of a low ebb, because I was thinking, how am I going to do this? I haven't got any footage, I haven't got any video stuff, I haven't got any time, I don't know what to do. And I so felt I wanted to create a video, but then I thought, well, I just can't. I'm going to have to notify the group that there won't be a video this week. And then this arrived, and not only was it a beautiful gift, but like I said in the video, it was truly an inspiration. It just brought back to me why I do what I do, why I turn up, why we make videos, is because we belong to a community that genuinely care about each other. And that beautiful gift just inspired me, and I thought, that's it, Rachel, I'm doing dragons. I then dug through the drawers of our unit. I found 5 of those external brains that you have for your computer for downloading, that I've been dumping all the footage on over all the years. I then put the word dragon into the search on every one of them. I gathered all the pieces over, stuck them into a file, and then sat there for hours editing those pieces. Everything in that video was re-edited from raw footage, because I don't have the YouTube buddy, so I couldn't download from YouTube and just chop it up. That would have just been something that would have meant that on the creation of the tower, the music and everything would have all been included. Nope, did it all from raw. But did it all in 24 hours, totally inspired by that amazing dragon. So thanks again for that. That was absolutely brilliant. So, yeah, Nice saying she saw it at the tail end of the show yesterday, and now seeing it again is stunning. There we are. So Rachel saying that she downloaded a pattern from Etsy to make it. Yeah. You're right, Lexi. It is a mammoth task, the edit. And I've lifted that off Caroline as a responsibility, because what Caroline's doing more and more now in her craft is trying to do it in as much one hit as she can. By using only her hands, by not appearing on camera, by keeping the edit to a minimum, she's able to handle that. But I've taken over now the responsibility for filming, editing and everything else in this channel. And so, as I say, division of labour, but editing can be a long way. Phyllis was saying, I wondered how you found all that footage. Now, if Caroline was here at this point, she would be looking at me and then looking at you and saying, he doesn't throw anything away. We've got an exercise bike that we bought 3 or 4 years ago, which we decided that we're going to put up for sale because Caroline's finding that it's just a little too big for her in the seating position to use it, and it's not helping with her knees. So we decided, and I said to Caroline today, I said, do you realise I still have the box in the loft for that exercise bike. I've also got a box for numerous things which we probably don't own anymore. So as you can imagine, I do not throw away footage. In fact, when I go through the brains, I usually find the same piece of old footage turning up in 2 or 3 places because I've used it in different projects. But yeah, I don't throw much away. That is one of my weaknesses. But at the moment, perhaps it'll prove to be a strength because I have footage. Well, in the footage we used, we went right back to finding that little plastic dragon in the river, which was one of our first videos mudlarking, right through to more recent times, such as going down to the Snoopy Trail in Caerphilly. How is Caroline getting on with her cello? Well, there's some sad news there because at the moment the cello is sat opposite me here in the studio, and Caroline has not been able to play it for several weeks because she has a problem known as carpal tunnel syndrome, and found that the positioning excuse me a moment, just get a little drink. The position she has to hold her hands in on the cello has been aggravating that condition and causing a burning sensation in her wrists. So until she has the surgery to correct that, she is sadly have to leave the cello practice and is now sticking to the keyboard, which she is able to do without causing any problems. But she is very, very sad at that because she was loving it and she really wants to get back to it. But at some point, excuse me, she will be having surgery to correct that, and when that is done, the first thing she hopes to do when it heals up is get back into the cello. So thanks for asking about that, kid. Oh, bought a clarinet over a year ago and it's still not played. Well, it's funny because Caroline just got so into the cello, she loved it. And in fact, she has tried going back to it on 3 or 4 occasions, even though she knows she can't. And then after 2 days of practicing on it, she finds herself in agony again. And also, she says, I'll try doing a couple of minutes only, but she can't, because when she starts playing, she loves playing, just practicing. She doesn't play big tunes or anything, she's just practicing her bow action and just playing simple things. She absolutely loves it. So hopefully at some point in the future, she'll be able to get back to it. But for the moment, she's got to be wise and just think of her hands, because the problem she's having is when she's played on the cello for 10 or 15 minutes, she then finds, because of the problem in her wrist, she can't do her sewing. So she can still sew, she can still practice her keyboard, can't play the cello. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. We're going to be positive, not negative. We're going to look on what we've got, not what we ain't. As I said to somebody one time, if you want me to stand here and tell you everything I haven't got, we'll be here for a long time. I'm just so glad that I have what I have. So there we go. Oh, Peggy Reed is saying that, 84-year-old sister had carpal tunnel surgery last week. Well, we'd be interested to know how that goes, Peggy, for her, because that's something that's very much on the agenda. Caroline is visiting the physio regular, and she's had, that is where this is heading. But at the moment, obviously there are waiting times, and Caroline doesn't want to go too soon because she will lose the use of her hand for a time when it's healing up. She won't be able to do things, but she's already trying to get ahead a little on the videos so that she's got a few for when we're on holiday or if she should get the call to go for the surgery. So there we go. Ah yes, seeing that mentioned there, thank you for bringing that up, Mike. Absolutely brilliant, a wonderful reminder there, and that is to acknowledge publicly on the live show that our wonderful friend Lexi has done exceptionally well. In fact, I believe you said in the comment to me yesterday in the written comments on the premiere that you'd somewhat exceeded your own expectations, Lexi, in your university qualification. So we're absolutely thrilled for you getting a first there. as you've been studying. That's absolutely brilliant, especially when you're doing a thesis, I believe, that included the subject of mudlarking. But brilliant, well done to you. That's absolutely great. But we should have a look at some finds, because the time is whistling round. So I'm going to show you now some finds that have come from videos that you will have seen, but for some reason those finds haven't shown up. Either I didn't have time to clean them all, or on a few occasions we've done the video but we haven't been able to do the live show. Because if we're away, then we can put out a premiere and we can join you in the chat, but we can't put on a live. So those are the sorts of things that happen, that mean that things like this that you may recall have never been cleaned up. We dug that out of the ground up in Yorkshire, but this is the first time that it's had a bit of a wash. It's not been thoroughly clean, but it's certainly had a bit of a wash. I was washing them. Here we are. This came out of the ground probably at least 6 months ago. At least. And it could be 9 months ago. But this, I washed it this afternoon, so you can tell what it's like in my garage, because this lot was stockpiled. But there's a lady who's lost her head. But other than that, she's looking good. So, on the understanding of this, look what we've got, not what we haven't got. We've got a lot. We're just lacking a head. But I got a feeling that could come useful in some interesting craft. And I've got a gentleman here to go with that. I'll just dig down and get him out now. Here we go. Come on, sir. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. There we go. But now I got to be careful here, because I did wash these this afternoon, and if I hold this over the laptop, it's going to go pop, because there's water dripping out, because he lost his shoe and his foot. So there's a bit of water on the inside, so I'm going to put my thumb there and hold this chap up, and I'm going to put my hand there just in case, so that I can bring him in, so that you can see the love. When I cleaned it up, look at that lovely detail on it, all done in gold. Isn't that a fancy dancy? So I've got a headless lady with a footless and headless and armless man. But the good news is he was not armless when we found him. It's just we found so much stuff, his arm came off in the bag. But I have it to go back on. So there we go. There he is with both arms. Look at that. And of course, with the state on the chap, the fact that I'll be gluing his arm back on is not going to be a major problem, I don't think. So there we go. We got the gentleman there with his arm. And here's an interesting one that we found. After this one, I will do another question for you. But have a look at that, folks. Now, he has lost his head as well. So we're going to have to do something about these heads. I don't know what. Maybe I'll make some heads. Maybe I'll do something a bit humorous and put some famous people's heads in their place. Or maybe I'll just replace them with me carrying a monkey or something. But this particular piece, at first, I wondered if it was based on that little rhyme, you know. Jack Sprat would eat no fat, his wife would eat no lean, and between the pair of them they licked the patter clean. But it turns out it's not, because if you look, this gentleman who's lost his head is sitting in a public house. There's his flagon and his glass, and that there is the landlady with a bottle in her hand, and the little message written on the bottom I've managed to read, and it says, for your hang on, I did read earlier and now it's gone, I can't read it. If you please, sir. That's what the lady is saying. If you please, sir. And if we turn it around, you can see that he's got his hand around behind her. So I'm thinking that this is possibly a little piece of chinaware that was brought back, almost like a China version of those little slapstick postcards that they used to bring back from the seaside. So I think it could be something like that. but I'm sure we're going to find something to do with those as soon as we find the time to do it. But who knows, maybe I'll grab an hour before next month's video and be able to make something down the shed and share it with you all. Before I ask the next question though, I will show you one more little piece of a statuette. It's not much of it, but I think it's cleaned up lovely, because look at that one. Now that I can definitely imagine in some sort of montage built up down the shed. Look at that guy. I think he looks pretty neat. There you go. Faraway portal. A lot of figures from the French Revolution. Yes, I think Madame Guillotine has been very busy. Okay, let's have another question. Righto, folks. Question is, how much did I pay for each of those dragons that I bought in the brocante? Now, there was some confusion in the video, but there is a price that was given that was accurate. I want to know, was the price per dragon A, 50 cents, B, 30 cents, or C, 10 cents? Go. Right, so I bought 5 dragons, was it, on that stall? How much did I pay for each of them? When you remember the brocante, the lady speaking in French and Caroline speaking French to her, and they agreed a price. How much was that price? Do you think that it was per dragon? Do you think it was 50 cents a dragon, 30 cents a dragon, or 10 cents a dragon? That's A, B, or C, or you can use the numbers. A is 50, B is 30, C is 10. Ooh, right. Let's have a look. Okay. Well, I can tell you the least popular answer is the correct answer, because those dragons in that brocante cost me 10 cents each. Now, when I was speaking in the shed, I did say I think I paid about 30 cents for them. But then when it came to the video, they actually were 10 cents. So I paid 50 cents for all 5 of them, which I clarified later in the video. So there would be some confusion, but I can tell you that the first person to put a C down was Mr. Mike Sage. Well done, Mike. You've got a gold podium place tonight. And the second person was Linda Peterson. There we go. And way down, Ribble Finds and Crafts also put a C. So we've got Mike, Linda, and Ribble Finds and Crafts. There we go. That's the order, and they were the only correct answers. The only 3 correct answers this evening on that question. I knew it would cause confusion because I was confused myself in the film. That's why I threw it in, just as a bit of a sidewinder. Now then, let's have a little bit of happy news, shall we? Okay. Garden raises small fortune for charity. A self-taught gardener has spent 27 years transforming the land outside his bungalow into a spectacular 4-season oasis considered one of the finest private gardens in Britain. John Macy's backyard is stunning and bursting with glorious summer colour, just 36 miles west of Birmingham, England. The 76-year-old has spent almost 3 decades devoted to his labour of love, planting 20,000 flowers, trees and shrubs at his 10-acre property. Despite no formal education, he became a 4-time gold medalist at Chelsea Flower Show. Not only that, he's opened his garden to the public for the last 22 years to raise money for charity, and has recently reached the incredible milestone of £500,000. Since it began as a patch of grass in 1998, the garden has evolved to feature UK planting alongside rarer and more exotic species from Japan, South Africa and Turkey. The garden hasn't really been planned, it's just evolved over 27 years, said the retired green thumb. I started by the house and just moved out, and it just kept going and going. I absolutely love it all. So I thought that was a really nice story because, excuse me, it works on so many levels. One, this guy just goes out, he's got this 10 acres by his bungalow, it's just a patch of grass, and he starts at the house and he thinks, I'm going to change this. At that moment, he never envisaged that he would transform it in the way he did. He just kept going. As he said, I started at the house and I kept going. I had no plan, but he did have a desire to change it, and he did it. And with his skills, all self-taught, he has won 4 gold medals at Chelsea and raised £500,000 for charity. That's got to be good news. With all of the sad things we're hearing these days, all of the mad and bad things we're hearing these days, it is lovely when you hear of someone who's transformed something, and in the transformation has not only brought joy to himself and joy to those who see it, but has extended that joy to so many others by raising such a wonderful son. So I thought that was really good, happy news. Let's have a look at a couple more finds. Sharon Paget said trick question. There we go. Let's have a look. Oh, here's something. How many of you remember this? There you go. Caroline picked that up. I'm pretty sure it was on a slope in Yorkshire, and she was just so taken with the vibrance of the colour. Could you see how they've dribbled the glass over the top? See how they've done that? It's just like, it's a bit like, you know when you use your glue gun and it don't stop and it wiggles all over everything? That's the pattern they've done on there with the glass, you see? And for me, and it may be wrong, but this don't half scream 60s or, you know, between the 50s and the 70s to have that orange in that style. And Caroline really liked it. So the hope is that at some point we may be able to chop it there, grind it and make use of it in some way. But it's certainly caught her eye on the dump. She was determined to bring it home, and I'm so glad we've now been able to clean it up a bit and show it to you here. So that's that one. Here's something else that's pretty, because we do bring home some pretty things. Now again, I'm going to keep this back here just for a moment in case the water comes through. There we go, and now I'll bring it in. That's the pattern on the top. But then you've got all of this pierced decoration all around the bottom. You see through there? And with just the slightest bit of trimming with the Dremel, that would make a very elegant plinth to place something on, I think. That's my thinking. You know what I'm like with plinths, so I don't often leave a plinth behind. But here's a chunk of pottery that's a bit more complete than that, because look at that. Yep, he's lost a handle, but other than that, that's in pretty good nick. Just that handle's gone. The lip isn't chipped. The pattern is still there. Round the back, there's a couple of roses on the back there. Look at that. And I think that probably try and just remove that bit and leave one handle on, so that it'll almost look like it's a jug rather than an urn. But I think that's a cracking piece. And even the gold leaf decoration, if it'll show up on there, is still there along the top. What a beautiful thing to pull out of a rubbish dump after it was thrown in and buried. What? I think the area we were in at least 60 years ago. So I think that's a beaut as well. And one more before we have another question, and that's sometimes we bring things home because we don't know what they are. Now I know that sounds a bit mad. Why would you bring it home if you don't know what it is? Because we think, well, maybe we can find out what it is. And we bring home things like this. This is made of glass. As you can see, it's had a bash in. It is shattered on the inside, but it is so solid that the cracks have not permeated it to the point that it's come apart. So although it's very much got that cracked look, if you can imagine every panel looking more like that, on the underside there, I'm assuming it's the underside, it's dished, but on the top, that's what you've got. Now to me it seems like a mould of some kind. That's what I think, is perhaps there was another one to match, and I'm almost sure we saw more than one that would come down and you'd press something in there perhaps. But a glass mould seems unusual. Anybody any ideas? There you go. Make a mould of the undamaged handle. Oh, Ed, you are such a clever man. But I just don't know if my skill set reaches to that. But who knows? When I'm retired, I'll have a go. So there we are. Answers on a postcard. No, not really. Answers in the comments if you've got any ideas. But joking about answers on a postcard, a couple of people have been in touch and say that they would like to get in contact and make inquiries about certain things like postal address or whatever. Don't forget, if ever you want to get in touch with us so that we can communicate more personally, then please use the mudlarking@aol.com. And that way, even when I am unable to catch up with all the comments, I check AOL, mudlarking@aol.com. I check that every day in case we've had any messages through. So if there's any inquiry or anything that's important to you, please feel free to use that email address and I will reply. Okay, I will do my best to reply, but I'll certainly read it. So there we are. Any ideas on that, folks? Here we go. Put that one down. Well, the time is racing away, so I think we'd better do another question. Okay, are you ready? While the dragon plays a massive role in the mythology and history of Wales, and we see a lot of statues of them around our country, and they turn up in all sorts of places, as you saw, on buses, on the names of petrol stations and pubs and goodness knows where else. There are much bigger statues than those in Wales beyond our borders. And if you wanted to see a 50-foot tall bronze dragon along with a huge Pegasus, then you would have to make a trip to America. Or if you happen to live there, then you'd have to make a trip to a particular place in America. Question is, where in America would you find a 50-foot tall bronze dragon on the same site as a huge giant Pegasus? Would it be A, Texas, B, Florida, or C, New York? Go! Let's have a look. What have we got? Oh. Oh. I can see we've got all three answers again, so we're on a roll for getting the right answer. It might be leaning a little bit towards our USA residents tonight on this one, but in fairness, so often they are UK orientated or Europe because that's where we are and that's where we hunt. So tonight we put in for our American friends as well, but could be interesting in as much as I'm not sure if it's going to be from the other side of the pond or this side of the pond, but here we go. I will tell you now that it is to be found in Florida, which is B. And I've got the first three answers in are correct. So well done. Well done to Lexi B, who was the first answer and obviously the first correct answer. Then Lisa Roberts. And then Rachel Bailey is back for another podium place. So there we go. Lexi, Lisa and Rachel, you guessed it. If you want to see a 50-foot bronze dragon on the same site as a giant Pegasus, you need to go to Florida. There we go. Well done, the three of you. You've got the gold, silver and the bronze. Okay. Here's an interesting find. Because this little bottle, the reason it's interesting is because it's a short snap lip bottle. It's got Judson written on one side and London on the other. Now that's unusual on a bottle this size to have that kind of marking on it, but there's London and there's Judson. Now, I have found that there was an art company that held the name Judson, but I can't find what this was. But there's one piece of information I can tell you. This bottle, there is one similar to it, in fact identical but cleaned better, and it's up for sale on eBay for £19. So there we go. Although we don't know exactly who Mr. Judson was or what he was doing in London, we do know that his bottles are selling on eBay or up for sale on eBay for £19. So there we go. Mentioning bottles for sale on eBay, I had a message from Margaret, who is in Iceland and watches the show, and she was asking about a stopper that she found in some rubble locally, and it had Bromley's Grimsby on it. Now, I've done my research, and again, there doesn't seem to be any history that I can find on the internet for Bromley's Grimsby. But once more, I did find a bottle for sale on eBay for £7 odd. And that was Bromley's Coffee Essence. And it was an old bottle, and it may well have had a twist stop for a stopper. So there we go. Sometimes things turn up on eBay that at least give you some clue to what you're looking at. Okay, what else have I got in here? Ooh, which ones will I show? Here we go. A pair. We've seen these before, but always nice when you get a pair and when they're in various sizes. Milk of Magnesia, folks. Another 2 Milk of Magnesia bottles. That one's cleaned up pretty good. I've still got to do a bit of work on that one. I've got to get a new set of brushes because my brushes are now getting that instead of the bristles it in the side of the bottle, I've used them so much, the wire hits the side of the bottle and scratches it. So I'll be sending off for some more brushes and then I'll get that cleaned up. But there we go. Lovely blue colour of Milk of Magnesia, which is so well known. And this screw top, this is screw top, but again, we pick them up purely for the colour. And there we've got some green glass on that one. Looks almost like one of those Vicks rub sort of bottles, but they tend to be blue, I think, so that's probably another company or something similar. There we go, nice green glass. Well, what time we got? Oh, the time is rushing away from us, folks. It's coming up to 10 o'clock. So we'd better do the question that you've all been waiting for. And that is, how many times did Mankey appear in this week's video? Was it A3, B4 or C5? Go! Now, as the answers are coming in, I've just had a message up with a spanner from Kofi Bot, and it says new coffee shop sale from Richie48, which I believe is the handle for our Rachel Bailey. So I think that means that there's been a purchase from the shop. So I haven't seen that before. I'm not usually this side of things. But, well, thank you very much, Rachel, for that. That's brilliant. Thank you very much. I'll check that as soon as I get off air. Back in the day when I locked, I used a toothbrush to clean bottles. Do you know what? That might be a good idea. I wonder if Caroline will mind if I use her toothbrush. Right. Here we go. Let's have a look at this one then. This is our final podium places for tonight, folks. And the answer is 4 times. Stood on Snoopy. Stood with the hiker. On the edge of the dragon's lair. And in my pocket when I was stood by the carving of the last dragon. So there we go. They are the 4 occasions. And I'm going to check now. Well, well, well. The very first answer in is correct, and it is from Sharon Paget, number 4. Then we got to check now because in case I get a B, because it's a B or 4. There's no B's, no 4s until I get to Lisa Roberts. And ooh. All right, Sharon Paget, you take gold. Lisa Roberts, you take silver. And Anne Goodwin, good on you. Okay, she said 4 because Anne realised, as I did, that no one else had got the 4. Probably because you all missed the one. I nearly missed it of him in my pocket. Go check it. It's at 15:08. But well done for getting in there at the last minute, Anne, and taking the bronze. There we go. That's what it's all about, folks. It's all about having a bit of fun. It's all about being together. It's all about just sharing this time in a way that gives us a break from the stuff that's all around us. Whatever's happening in your world, I wish you all the best. You're all in our thoughts. We really do love every one of you. And as we always say, this time, like every time, till the next time we're together, have fun. Bye.